I want to start with Kenny Pickett, though, because the Steelers have been playing with fire with the offense. I've
Right.
been very critical of Matt Canada myself, but you saw some adjustments. He's down on the sidelines.
Right.
Broderick Jones starting at right tackle, which we'll
Right.
discuss. But the title of this podcast is Cardiac Kenny Pickett, Clutch Kenny Pickett. And yet again, we saw the Steelers' second-year quarterback rally the team. In the last 2 seasons, most go-ahead touchdowns in the final 5 minutes of games. Kenny Pickett now has 4. He's ahead of Josh Allen with 3. We compared him to Eli Manning on previous episodes, Ike, to say it's not always perfect for the first 3 quarters, but I don't know what happens with him in the fourth quarter. He morphs into a different dude. I mean, the pass he had to Diontae Johnson along the sidelines on that touchdown drive was beautiful. Credit Diontae Johnson, his savviness for not showing his hands right away and showing his lands at the very last minute because it prevents the defensive back from knocking the ball away, Ike. Something happens with Kenny Pickett in the fourth quarter where I've said this before too. We record this show each week, twice a week, Ike. And it's like change the teams, change the time of the game, but it's the same narrative. Close game, you're trailing, and then late in the game, Kenny Pickett rallies this team again. I don't know how long you can sustain this, but we saw it again last night on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, Clutch Kenny. I mean, it just got to be in your DNA, to be honest with you, Mark. Some people got it, some people don't. And to see Kenny, especially on the last drive, kind of throw everything out the window the first 3 quarters. He didn't have a good first 3 quarters, what he probably thought he was going to have. I know he missed Diontae on the curl. I know he missed George on a crossing route as well. He overthrew somebody else. But just to let all that go and have a short memory and come up in the fourth quarter, especially when the team needs you, or on the last drive when the team needs you and you just kind of like wake up and turn into somebody else. So Kenny has displayed that over the course of several games, Mark, especially on the primetime game. So we can say what we want to say. I'm going to talk to you like how Coach T talked to us. We get paid by the wins. We don't care whether they're early, whether they're pretty, or whether they're ugly. We get paid by the wins. So right now, Pittsburgh 5-3, sitting second in the AFC North.
I'm going to say this too, Ike. Again, I've been very critical of Canada. If you actually go back and watch the tape against the Jags, he missed Diontae Johnson in the end zone. Johnson dropped a ball on a 40-yard pass in that Jags game. And last night's game, the Steelers drive down and score on the first drive of the game. And going into the game, the Steelers had only 7 total offensive points in first quarters of games. So I like the adjustment, and I want to get into the line play in a second, but I want to stay on Pickett for just one more second, Ike. He missed some throws. He's missed some throws the last 2 weeks where we're very critical of Matt Canada. You hear even on the Pat McAfee show all the way in Utah, fire Canada, and you hear the chants of it. But I've at least seen the concepts the last 2 weeks where at a certain point, players got to play and players have to execute. And again, it hasn't always been perfect. I thought we saw improvements. If we want to go to the line discussion, Ike, we can, because the Steelers rushed for a season high 166 yards behind Jaylen Warren, Najee Harris. I do want to talk some Broderick Jones today too. But Kenny Pickett has to be better as well. I need to see improvement there. And I point to so many statistics, Ike, and you say, well, you're Monday morning quarterbacking, Mark. But when the Steelers are the 34th team in NFL history to be outgained by their opponent in each of the first 8 games of the season, and they are the only one of those teams to have a winning record. And again, I have like 6 other stats I could throw out at you. If you want to achieve success this season and beyond, the offense has to get better. And I'll land here, Ike. Here's the way I look at it. If this offense was even average, you'd be talking about one of the NFL's elite teams right now.
Right. So you got to look at it like this, Mark. This is how I look at it. So Kenny had an okay game, and Kenny probably admit that. But from what OC Matt Canada did, staying up in the box, coming down on the field, I would look at it like this. It's like having your uncle sitting at the box calling plays. Right? You know, uncle sitting in the box, you know we got that favorite uncle. You can get away with a lot of stuff. He's fun. He's a good time. You don't really take him serious, right? Now you put dad on the sideline. and we know what dad brings. A dad, the father.
Mm.
We put dad on the sideline, so we know what dad brings to the table, and that's how I look at the difference between, Matt Canada sitting all the way in the box, coming down the sideline. So dad really get to see your eyes. He get to see the personnel. He get to see your body language. He get to chastise you right on site and all that. So now you got to hold yourself accountable. So sitting up there in that box is like watching tape, coming down to the sideline with something Matt Canada never have done in the course of his career as an OC. But now he just get to check the temperature. Mark, he get to see, he get to feel. Personnel's go kind of smoothly. He get to check the temperature on what they're doing on the other sideline. He get to see their personnel's running in and out. He get to see who banged up on the other sideline. He get to see who's the rookie, who's the weakness, blase, right? So that's how I look at it. I think from this point on, Matt Canada will be on the sideline. But Kenny, you can say what you want to say about Kenny. I would rather have a quarterback that's going to rally my team late clutch than a quarterback who's going to give me 1 through 3 and flame out in the clutch. So Kenny also knows what that defense he got. He said, man, just keep it in close range. If y'all boys keep it for me in close range, I got action. You want to talk about the offensive line? The offensive line played their ass off, but I thought just Coach Matt Canada, Mark, he just called a heck of a game. You can just tell he can just check the temperature different from actually being on the sideline.
The sentiment, Ike, is going to be that Canada stays on the sideline moving forward.
Can't go back up though.
Yeah,
can't go back up. Like, then you're celebrating with the boys. You're more emotional on the sideline. It's like it's different. It's different from sitting at a Super Bowl in a box to actually sitting or standing on the sideline at a Super Bowl. It's a different kind of feel. You feel me? So that's what Matt Canada, in my mind, saw like. And I'm just speaking for Coach Matt. I'm not saying this. I'm just speaking for him. This is my personal opinion.
Okay.
Like, I'm just guessing. He's saying like, damn, I should have always been on the sideline. Like it just feels different. It's like going to your favorite artist concert, but instead of paying, the tickets for the first row, you get backstage passes and you get to see them on stage. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, first row. Let me just say this too. I do credit Kenny Pickett for playing. I know there wasn't an injury designation for him. I don't think it's any secret where his ribs aren't 100%. I would rather see Kenny Pickett out there 80, 85. I don't know what percentage I'd put it on, Ike. But we know what Mitch Trubisky can do to this point as a starting quarterback, given his sample size. So, yes, Pickett missed some throws, but also keep in mind on the shortened week, he's also playing a little bit banged up as well. It's not to make excuses, but it's to point out the realities of the situation of what it is that's going on. And I thought that's why it was important to rely on the running game. That's why it was important to get Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren going.